Everybody, this is my good friend D. He is rocking out to ABBA today. And that's what he does when he does his canning and his bottling and stuff like that for his food storage, and also apparently with his cutting up his deer. So he got a deer this season and he looks rather excited about it. He's digging right in, he's carving it up, and he's giving us a nice little smile there. So good job, D. What can you tell us about this deer that how long is this gonna last? How long is a nice, I don't know, 2-3 point buck gonna last you in your storage? And how do you store it?
Obviously, you can store it through freezing, you can pressure cook it, or you can jerk it. Jerking takes a lot of time, and the bottom line on how long it lasts is how much you want to eat. But for me and my wife, this deer will give us about 50 meals, somewhere between 40 and 50 meals.
Good job. Okay.
And when I cut this into steak, I put 4 steaks in one package, freezer rack.
How big are the steaks?
Freezer bags. And the steaks are, roughly about so big.
Okay.
And the body only needs 4 ounces of protein every 24 hours. It doesn't really handle any more than that. The rest of it's just kicked out. So a package of steaks like that is going to last my wife and myself for 2 meals.
Right now you're just trimming off the fat.
Well, what I'm trimming off here is the undesirable meat. You can see the difference here. This outer shell is dried. I don't want to put that in food storage, so I cut that off, so I just have the pure meat like this. And then I try to minimize the amount of fat that I get off of it. That's why you see me cutting these little pieces off. But this, when I flip it over, you'll see why I cut the outside off.
Oh, okay.
This stuff's been dragged through the field, and I've cut part of the dried skin off. So it'll all look like this when I start cutting on.
Ooh, that looks good.
But I need to get rid of all this. This becomes very lean.
That's really fresh.
Different folks have the ways they like their meat. I don't like a lot of fat, nor does my wife. And where venison and elk and moose and caribou and all those animals are concerned, they have to build up a fat reserve to get them through the winter. Cattle don't have to do that because they're spoiled. They get fed grain and oats during the winter and hay. But wild animals have to have a reserve thing of fat. Now, up above the back, this fat right here is going to be almost an inch thick. And that's what he utilizes during the winter, among other things, if he can't find enough food. But even then, that doesn't guarantee he's going to survive. They always have to be on the lookout for food. And we don't like the bones or the gristle, the sinew between the muscles, or the fat, because that's where all the wild taste comes from when you cook it. And if there's fat on it and so forth, or bone marrow coming out and you're cooking it, you're going to have pretty strong smell in your kitchen. So we try to eliminate as much of that as possible when I cut it up. And I may not get as many packages, but it's much better quality eating.
Yeah.
And
what's your favorite way to eat it? Is it just steaks?
With my mouth.
Well, sure. So do you make it up in stew and stuff like that too?
Most of it we cut into little chunks, maybe 3/4 of an inch to an inch cubes, and then we put it in stews, or we'll make a broth with it, a gravy, and put it over potatoes or rice or something like that, and it's really good that way.
Oh, sounds good. It's a wonderful thing to do, to know how to go hunting and to know how to prepare your meat, especially if we ever ran into tough times. D, I've heard from a lot of people, they say that one of the reasons why they don't like to eat deer and that kind of thing is because it's too gamey. What do you do to try to get that problem taken care of?
Well, number one, they don't know what they're really talking about in general. It becomes a psychological thing, kind of like eating frog legs. You feed frog legs somebody and say it came from a Cornish game hen, a small chicken,
Oh yeah,
and they'll think it's wonderful.
really?
You tell them it's frog legs and they get sick.
So
We took this meat and just cooked it directly, even though I'm cutting all the fat and the stuff that has wild influence on the flavor. It's still going to taste a little wild, but if I throw an onion with it while I'm cooking it, that'll knock out a lot of the wild taste. And some people like to even put a little apple juice over it or something of that nature, or even cut up apples and fry with it to help knock out the gamey taste. Anything is cooked right.
we appreciate my alphabet friend D telling us all about this, and we will just let it go at that. Thanks, D.
You're welcome.
Look at me. Appreciate it.